Hello, everyone. Wherever you may be joining from, we hope you're doing well, in good health, far from the challenging challenges affecting many parts of our region. We are truly grateful to have you with us today for this important information session on the HEOR diploma. So we have 1 hour, 15 minutes, and our goal for today is very simple. We want to ensure you leave with everything you need to know about this HEOR diploma, all your key questions addressed throughout the session. So before starting, we would love to hear from you. So do you have specific questions or interest regarding this diploma? You'll see here a QR code on the screen. So please scan it, few seconds, and share your thoughts. And we will ensure all the responses during the sessions. Responses are anonymous. We'll be taking note of every question so we can address them throughout the session. Thank you so much for all the questions, excellent ones. And rest assured that we have designed this webinar to cover exactly all of the questions here. However, if you have some more, there would be a Q&A box where you can plug all the questions. But definitely, we promise that we would be providing all the answers to all the questions I'm seeing here. So moving to the flow of the webinar of today, we would be going over three very important parts. So part one will outline the big picture, all what we need to know about the Health Economics and Outcomes Research Diploma, why HEOR matters more than ever today, who this program is for and what it offers, the flow and how to apply. And part two will take us into the content itself. So you would make sure that the modules, the design, there would be a kind of module tasting with reputable speakers on board, primary instructors. So you will get to know them one by one. And the expert faculty will share learning objectives, key themes, some types of careers these modules can support, especially in the MENA region. And part three would be your time to ask all the questions. So you can do it throughout the session, all types of questions, whatever is on your mind. So administrative, scientific, or technical questions. So just type your question into the Q&A box, and we will address them in writing live during the last section or follow up after if the time runs short. So we thank you for being here. Please note that the session is recorded, so you can hear it whenever you want, and we truly appreciate your interest and engagement. So moving forward, let's take a moment to understand the ecosystem that surrounds health economics and outcomes research. So you might know this complicated ecosystem of HEOR and why HEOR is no longer optional in today's health systems. So you know very well that all healthcare decisions worldwide and in our country, in our region, in all countries in the Middle East and North Africa are no longer based only on clinical efficacy, and health systems are suffering from budget constraints, at the same time expensive health technologies and aging population. So HEOR, as you can see it in the center, bridges these pressures by providing evidence and value, cost effectiveness, quality of life, and real world impact. So if you look at this slide in the middle, HEOR sits at the center of an ecosystem which is very much complicated. And you can see that HEOR influences many key stakeholders, the orange boxes, and also HEOR is influenced by key stakeholders. So researchers and academicians are driving innovation, methodology, research. Payers and policy makers are shaping reimbursement and access, and we can see it more and more in the MENA region. Patient organization, patient advocacy groups, patients themselves are elevating outcomes that matter and becoming more partners of the health system. We can see as well providers, regulators, and the life sciences industries, all of whom they depend on the HEOR to support fair, effective, and sustainable healthcare decisions. The field is very much dynamic, so that's why you can see throughout the themes, which are divided into real world evidence, digital health, shared decision making, population health. So you can see even equity science behind. And this means that health economics and outcomes research is not just about trials and spreadsheets, it's more about integrated thinking across economics, data, science, and health policy as well. So if we are wondering about career opportunities for healthcare professionals and executives, so the HEOR field, this field opens diverse doors. So you can see it very well and you can sense it in today's world. So we have HEOR roles in pharmaceuticals and biotech, which is evolving, market access and pricing teams, governmental advisory roles, work even in health insurance, patient advocacy, and global health. And of course, more careers in research, data analysis, and policy. So having this expert level of professionals also with us attending this session, it confirms that healthcare and public health, pharmacy, economics, and biomedical sciences present with us today. This is a field where you can truly influence real change. So before closing this part and identifying this need, we can definitely agree and say that health economics outcomes research is not just a technical discipline. So it's a strategic connector and that will shape how innovation reaches the patient and how policy is built more and more on evidence, so the systems in our region would become smarter. I would move to the conclusion of the need. So based on the need identified in our region, HEOR, so we can see in the next slide that CCHO, the Center of Clinical Health Economics and Outcomes Research, next slide please. So CCHO has proudly partnered with Institut Supérieur de Santé Publique, ISSP, and St. Joseph University School of Medicine to launch the first and only university diploma in HEOR, specifically tailored for the MENA region. And when we say specifically tailored for the MENA region, it means that this diploma will provide participants with practical knowledge of the MENA healthcare landscape, having on board for each and every module instructors, subject matter experts, global insights, knowledge share, in addition to guest speakers from the region, shaping the environment, whether from payers, regulators, government, and industry perspective. You might see, and you will see now in the next part, the flexible learning models that will accommodate busy professionals, ensuring the program fits into the working schedules. All of you, you're executive, you're working, so the model is very flexible. There are opportunities for meaningful research and publications on the job at the end of the day, because the mission of USG and CCHO is to support the advancement of HEOR science and its application in the region. So accreditation, and you asked about accreditation. So we have undergoing accreditation with the Saudi Commission for Health Specialties for the Saudi team members with us today. This is a very good news, reinforcing the credibility and professional value of the qualification. So, Noor, please, we move to, yes, this slide. It's time now to learn more about the application process and registration for the HEOR diploma. I'd like to invite the HEOR program coordinator, Tia Khalaf. You might know her, you may have already met her, to take the floor and to go over the full process of application and registration. Tia, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. MENA, for this introduction, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today. So I'm Tia Khalaf, and I will be presenting the administrative part of the HEOR diploma, covering the program duration, the credits, the fees, the roadmap, the target profiles, and I will finish with the application process. Please, if we can move to the slide just before this one. Please. Slide number 6. Yes, so let's start with this table, which gives a general overview of the diploma. So in total, we have 6 modules, each with specific objectives and outcomes. The module titles, as you can see, are Introduction into Health Economics and Outcomes Research, Health Systems in the MENA region, Pricing, Reimbursement, and Market Access, Principles and Practice of Health Technology Assessment, Economic Evaluation in Health and Medicine, Real-world evidence and patient-reported outcomes, and managed entry agreements in the MENA region. The duration of this diploma is 10 months, and the primary language is English. It carries a total of 36 academic credits, and it's fully online through Moodle platform. An optional face-to-face workshop will be held in June 2026, followed by the graduation ceremony, which will take place at St. Joseph University. So the fees, in the questions at the beginning, we saw a lot of questions about the fees. They are set to be $5,000 with the flexibility to pay them in 4 deferred installments, so which equals $1,250 per installment, spread over the 10 months. The official start date of this diploma is September 15th, 2025, so with the academic year. And the deadline for application is July 16, 2025, so in a month from today. Now, moving on to the roadmap, let's take a closer look for each module. How are they organized? Each of the 6 modules follow the same structure across 5 weeks. So each module lasts for 5 weeks, and you can see on the screen here that the first module starts on September 15th and ends on October 18th. So from week 1 to week 3, it consists of pre-recorded lectures, which students can access at their own pace. The content will be released weekly and will remain available across the module. Week 4 is dedicated to a live interactive session with the primary instructor, focused on real case scenarios and questions and answers to answer of the 3 weeks lectures. Week 5 features a live session with the guest speakers, both regional and international experts in the HEOR field. This is a unique and enriching aspect of this diploma that brings real-world expertise directly to our participants. These sessions will be held on Zoom, and while attendance is highly encouraged, it will also be recorded for later access. At the end of week 5, as you can see, there will be a 30-minute multiple-choice quiz to assess your understanding of the module. And after each module, students will benefit from a 1-week break before starting the next module. So let's take an example. If the module 1 ends on October 18th, you take 1-week break and you start module 2 on October 27th. And you go on and on until the module number 6. Upon completion of all modules, you will work on a final applied project. This can be done individually or in a group on a topic of your choice or selected from a list we will provide at the beginning. The project will be presented and discussed before the final graduation in June 2026. Now, moving on to the target profiles. Please, next slide. Yes. This program is designed for professionals across a wide range of backgrounds, including experts in public health, health policy, government or regulatory roles, those working in pharmaceutical, biotechnology, or medical device industries, as well as specialists in outcomes research, reimbursement, medical communication, product development, regulatory affairs, and MSL field operations, professionals from health plans, hospitals, provider networks, and of course, graduate students in health-related disciplines with an interest in HEOR. So, if you're looking to deepen your understanding of healthcare system and decision-making through data and economic insights, this diploma is made for you. And now, moving on to the last part of my part, the application process. So next slide. It's designed to be very smooth, quick, and fully online. You can access the registration link via the chat now or scan the QR code displayed on your screen on the top right. The form takes about 5 minutes to complete and requires basic information such as your name, your nationality, background, and contact details. You will also need to upload 2 documents, your CV and a copy of your passport. Once submitted, the university will contact you within 2 working days via email to follow up and complete your enrollment. Now, it's my pleasure to give the floor to our esteemed faculty, starting with Dr. Russell Becker, a renowned expert in health economics, who will walk you through the content and objectives of the first module. Dr. Becker, the stage is yours.
Okay, can you hear me? I'm trying to undo my video here. Hold on.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay, great. Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm Russell Becker. I teach the first module at the Academy, and I am a health economics expert. I've been in the field of health economics and outcomes research, or HEOR consulting, for over 25 years. I've worked for consulting firms, large and small, and had clients across the spectrum of product development, whether it's pharma, biotech, device developers, diagnostic developers, in a variety of therapeutic areas. I've done wide-ranging health economics and outcomes research studies throughout my career as well, and that will be reflected in the course. I have also gained a reputation as an expert in economic modeling, both budget impact and cost effectiveness modeling, have several publications in that area. And I've also done teaching. I also have teaching experience, so this will not be my first time teaching. I've taught at George Mason University at the undergraduate level in the United States. I've also taught, currently teaching at Thomas Jefferson University, where I teach graduate level economic modeling courses 1 and 2 at that university that has a long-standing HEOR program. I've also taught, developed a learning module in budget impact modeling for the International Society of Pharmacoeconomics and Outcomes Research, ISSP, as well, and have taught seminars for their local chapters also. That's all I really kind of have to say about myself. Oh, I can also mention that I have 80 peer-reviewed publications as well. So I'm it's kind of a factor of being around for a while in this field. So I have a lot of publications that you can find me online as well for the type of work that I've done. Okay, next slide, Taya. So for module 1, the learning objectives will be understand key concepts in health economics and economic evaluation. The second learning objective will be communicate HEOR insights and access their transferability across international health systems. And the third will be apply fundamental principles to conduct and interpret health economic analyses. We'll compare study designs, analytical approaches, and interpret simple models that estimate costs and outcomes. Again, I will be the main lecturer there. Our guest lecturers will be very prominent international speakers. It would be Rick Chapman, who is the Senior Scientific Officer for the Center of Innovation and Value Research in the United States. And our other guest lecturer will be Yazid Al-Ruthia. He is the Professor and Director of Pharmacoeconomic Research Unit at KSU in Saudi Arabia. I look forward to any of your questions about this module, and you'll find me popping up later on in module 4 as well. Back to you, Taya.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jade Khalife, and I will be giving the second module, leading the second module of this diploma. I am a researcher practitioner in the field of health systems, public health physician and epidemiologist, and I've worked with various organizations such as WHO, the World Bank, Bloomberg Philanthropies, Welcome Trust on different kinds of collaborations and projects, mainly in the field of health systems or non-communicable diseases. Most of my past or ongoing work has had to do with national hospital performance frameworks, case mix methodologies to assess the average complexity of different cases coming to hospitals or primary care or things of that sort. National strategies for health systems, hospitals or programs, and evaluating hospitals and primary care. Much of my focus has been over the past 10 years or 13 years has been on value-based healthcare, actually, and pay-for-performance systems, particular for hospitals and to some extent primary care. It is quite encouraging how widespread value-based care is being, with the different kinds of combinations or flavors of value-based care that there is. That is something we will also be dealing with during this module, as well as other topics. Next slide. So in terms of the learning objectives, we will be, well, firstly, I should mention I have also with me my co-speaker in this module, Dr. Mina Matni, which you have met earlier in this session, and we'll be meeting, I think, quite soon again, as well as Dr. Anas Hamad, who has a lot of experience as Director of Pharmacy and Medication Safety and Quality with Hamad Medical Corporation and the Qatar National Center for Cancer Care. He's also a clinical associate professor at Qatar University. So together with my co-speakers, we will be addressing these objectives. So getting into the fundamentals of health systems and market access science, we're going to be discussing what are health system goals and their principles, how they are structured, and how they also differ across different countries, and how public and private healthcare or stakeholders can collaborate in different places, particularly with a focus on the MENA region. We will be exploring the evolution of payer environments and different types of reimbursement models globally, but with a focus on our region. And also looking at the trends in terms of private health insurance and how the transition has evolved, moving away from volume-based healthcare financing towards outcome-based. So not per patient, let's say, or per visit, but rather shifting more and more towards what are the actual outcomes, and some also focus on processes to some extent. We will be working on defining the concept and principles of value-based healthcare, how also individual and societal values get defined, as well as how these can be framed and aligned when developing value-based healthcare. We will be looking at what are the challenges and enablers of value-based care implementation, and particularly looking at what is the real-world evidence when it comes to value-based healthcare, the successes, the failures, the lessons learned, and how these are integrated, how we include the patient-reported outcomes or developing people-centered health systems along with using value-based healthcare. And we will be also analyzing pharmaceutical pricing policies and their impacts in terms of affordability, access, and innovation, and see how this interacts also with the broader health system goals and payer expectations, particularly with a focus on the region. Thanks, and I will hand on to the next speaker, Dr. MENA Matni.
So hello again. Thank you so much, Shad, for this very interesting module. I'm Mirna Metne again. I'm the Director of Health Policy and Health Technology Assessment at CCHO. So here is my biography, and I've spent, in fact, the highlights over 14, 15 years working across public healthcare systems. So the strong focus was on integrating health technology assessment into policy and reimbursement processes. So from my experience, I can say with full conviction that HTA is not optional anymore for decision makers. It's a real need because it will equip payers and policymakers with the right tools to make their decision more informed, more evidence-based. So basically, if we move to the next slide, I will be leading on Module 3, Principles and Practice of Health Technology Assessment. So I'm very pleased to be leading on this very interesting module alongside my colleague Muna Jamaluddin. She is Head of Health Technology Assessment at INEAS in Tunisia. So bringing also the perspective of institute, putting the HTA into institutions from the region perspective, addressing the challenges and best practices from both global and regional experiences. We have with us also Mohammed Hussein. He is VP R&D from industry perspective, Regeneron, global US industry perspective. He has PhD in bioinformatics. So we're very happy to collaborate all together from a practical perspective and a global and regional context. So first, as you might see, we will dig into the concept of HTA, the principles, and we'll dive into the purpose, most importantly, of HTA. So we will see how HTA nowadays is strengthening more health systems around the world, supporting transparent and equitable decision making. And then we would go over all types of HTA, which is very important for government officials, where not always we can go into full implementation of HTA. So what if we understand the different types from rapid, mini, hospital-based, even health technology assessment. You see it more in fragmented healthcare systems in our region. And each has its context, purpose, application. So basically understanding the differences to select the right tool for the right setting, for the right country, for the right institution. And number two, will break down the HTA process, its core component. So basically for most of the people, maybe HTA is more related to the economic modeling or economic part. However, here the approach is multidisciplinary, where we have all evidence brought together, clinical evidence, economic evaluation, ethical, social dimensions, and even the organizational considerations. So you will gain clarity more on how these components will come all together, confirming once again that HTA is definitely, as you know, it's very clear, it's very structured. It has its own process, principles, numbers, but at the end of the day, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. And we would see that it's flexible tool, so we could make the best use of it in order to inform decision makers. And then in the next module number 3, so it's a session embedded so in it. So we would go and explore all international updated regional HTA practices. As you might know, we would introduce global institutional models that are very famous, like the NICE, CADAT, PBAC, IQWIG in Germany, and others. But also we will focus on emerging frameworks of HTA in our own region. So you see it there, it's coming, whether it's official or not, the science behind it, it's really used. So what is working, what is evolving, and how are different countries approaching the real implementation of HTA? So this part will reflect the complexity of HTA across different healthcare systems, but at the same time, it will provide adaptation to the context and with hands-on experience of different people working on HTA and the governmental sector. And finally, we will be assessing the importance of HTA for decision makers. So in these complex areas, whenever we have, as you may know, rare diseases, uncertainties in many medications coming to the market where clinical evidence is limited and decisions still need to be made. So we can learn that HTA is not there to block access to innovations. However, HTA is there to enable those new innovation and provide practical solutions, how the policy can be shaped even in the absence of perfect data. So we would never have perfect data, and yet HTA is there, and how it's managing those very costly medications with sharing experience from a global and yet local expertise. So this module is a holistic overview on health technology assessment, digging into understanding more its essential components. And I think from my side that whether you're in policy, whether you're in the payer side, governmental affairs, or market access, so understanding HTA will definitely open doors to growing careers opportunities in both public and private sectors. So it's a skill that is increasingly in demand. And by the end of this module, you'll feel more confident using HTA as a practical tool and more prepared to apply it in your own work and career path. So thank you for your attention. Definitely, we are all staying here in case you have any question on the content module. So please provide your thoughts. And now back to Russell as we move and dig more into module 4.
Hi again, everyone. It's me again. I was the same instructor from Module 1, Russell Becker. So I won't go into my background again, of course. So for Module 4, we'll be looking at the economic evaluations in health and medicine. It will be a detailed look at understanding the economic concepts and analytic tools used in the evaluation of healthcare technologies. We'll examine the processes, best practices, and types of economic evaluations, including modules and including models, studies in conducting retrospective, prospective, and clinical trial studies. So we'll look at it in each of those different types of analytic settings. We'll explore how different stakeholders like payers, HTA bodies, and policymakers, how they assess and interpret economic evaluations. And we will also review key international guidelines for economic evaluations for HTA, including those from payers and HTA organizations. The guest speakers for this module will be Pierre Levy. He's a health economics expert from Medcomany in France, and Samir Ahid. He's the General Director of the Moroccan Agency for Medicines and Health Products in Morocco. So look forward to teaching you this very interesting and very detailed session as well. And now I'll hand over to Module 5. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here today to tell you about the module that I'll be leading. My name is Fatima Sayyah, and I'm a health outcomes researcher. I'm based at the University of Alberta in Canada, and I am the PROMS and the patient-reported outcome measures and the patient-centered outcome lead with the CCHO. My background's actually in epidemiology, and I have done a lot of work on large survey research, cohort studies, registry-based type of work. Hence, I'm leading this module on RWE. This is kind of the term that we've been using for this type of work. And in the last, I would say, 12 plus years, I've been doing more focused work on patient-reported outcomes, patient-centered outcome measurement and valuation. I'm also a member of the EuroQual group, which is the group that leads the work with EuroQual instruments on the measurement and valuation of health rate quality of life. I have been involved in research and in collaborations in the region for 10 plus years. I've done work in Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Jordan, and of course have explored the application of these different tools in different contexts. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to bring some of that experience to this session. With this particular, next slide, please. With this module, it's divided into two parts, the RWE part and the PROs. And of course, there's quite a bit of overlap between those two concepts and overlap with many other modules. Those are all kind of, as mentioned before, integrated knowledge really when it comes to HEOR. I would say the RWE and PROs are kind of like the emerging, mostly fields or disciplines or areas of research within HEOR. Perhaps we're still learning a lot more about those two fields as we apply them in the context of HEOR. So I'm hoping to cover a lot of that in this field or in this module. For RWE, we're going to, of course, look at the basic concepts of RWE and the sources of data, the key research designs that are used in RWE generation. How do we design studies to RWE studies to answer specific research questions, and the applications, the limitations and strengths of these different designs in various contexts, whether it's regulatory, reimbursement, HTA, various and wide applications within the context of HEOR. And for PROs, of course, we're going to learn about the key concepts of patient-reported outcomes and how do we measure these outcomes in various contexts, how we apply PROs in different applications, whether it's clinical effectiveness research, cost effectiveness studies, in value-based care, as mentioned by one of my colleagues earlier, and of course in non-research applications, which is used in many cases in clinical care and in health systems. So we will cover that whole wide range of different applications. What I'm really hoping with this module is that by the end of the module, hopefully the participants will be able to do two things. First is that they'll be able to design and have confidence to design studies on RWE or studies involving the use of patient-reported outcomes. And then two is to be able to critically appraise studies involving RWE PROs. So whenever you look at a publication or another study design or a proposal for a study, you'll be able to identify whether this is a good evidence or the study will be robust to provide good evidence or not. So and of course, in addition to that, we're hoping to kind of briefly explore some of the emerging trends in this field. I know we've all probably been hearing a lot about AI, artificial intelligence, and how that could be used in some of the applications. We've been seeing some of these applications in RWE PROs, so we'll bring that also into the discussion. I will be very pleased to be joined by two colleagues and in this to give this module. First, Professor Ellie Stalk is a professor at Erasmus University in the Netherlands and is the scientific director of the HEOR Research Foundation. The HEOR is an international organization that works on the measurement and valuation of health rate quality of life. You've probably may have heard about the EQ5D instrument. So that's the organization that leads that work and has done, Ellie has done work in several countries around the world. So she'll be able to bring in some of that knowledge and expertise as well. Dr. Abir Rabaya is from Jordan. She is the head of the Drug Policy and Technology Assessment at KHCC, and she has done quite a bit of work on both RWE and PROs, and actually the use of PROs and the generation of RWE. Her area of expertise is cancer, but she has done work in other areas as well, and hopefully we'll be able to bring in some of that regional experience as well. I'm really hoping that also the participants in this module would be bringing in some case studies, some real world case studies and examples that we can work on the module. We're kind of designing this, as Tia mentioned in the beginning, to be a very interactive type of activity. So it's not going to be a one-way street type of instructing. It's going to be a discussion. There's going to be a lot of live sessions where we'll have this opportunity to for this lively discussion to happen with myself as the primary instructor, but also with the guest speakers. I'm hoping that this, will be a very useful session for many different types of professionals within the, under the HEOR umbrella. As you've seen, of course, in the intro, HEOR is a very broad field. It's a multidisciplinary field, and the applications of HEOR are relevant whether you are in a government position or working within, whether it's research or non-research, within the pharmaceutical industry or academia, or maybe other types of organizations, like it could be a research organization, like for instance, the HEOR is a research organization. So really, HEOR is a very broad field. The knowledge that you will gain from this program and this module in particular can be applied in many different contexts. Dr. Myrna in the beginning highlighted the increasing need for this in our region, for the skill set. It's a no-brainer that we need to do more HEOR work, HTA. And when we think about RWE and PROs, those are key pillars within the HEOR research field. So I'm hoping that with this program in the near future, you become the leading experts in the region on this field. And I would be happy to answer any questions about this particular module or take any comments. And with this, I will hand it over to my colleague and our lead at CCHO, Dr. Christian Maschini.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Fatima, for the beautiful introduction for the module. I'm very pleased to be here to introduce the last module of the diploma. My name is Christian Maschini. I am CEO of CCHO, and I have a PhD actually in healthcare system management with a focus on a very important subject that I will be leading on this faculty, which is Managed Entry Agreement. Next slide, please. So it's really a pleasure to be discussing with you and to be able to, to present on this module, because it's an extremely strategic and timely subject, the Managed Entry Agreements. As we all know, if you work in the pharmaceutical, in governments, or in the consulting area, we know this pressure, which is now driven by the costly drugs, by the budget constraints, by the uncertainties of a new innovation coming to the markets. So managed entry agreement is no more a tool or an optional tool. It has become a central to all negotiations which are across different parties discussing value, discussing risks, and discussing affordabilities of these drugs. So with this module, we're going to take you through the journey from global to local on the managed entry agreements, and how these agreements are being designed, how do they solve the problems of affordabilities, and also what are the different schemes which are being designed and how these are being adopted and adapted across various healthcare systems. So what do you expect from these modules after you finish from it? You should be expecting first is to master the fundamentals of managed entry agreements. So we're going to take you about what are these managed entry agreements, what are the different schemes, how are these schemes are being designed, and how they are being used in order to support or address the affordability and the sustainability of the healthcare systems. So the first module is to master these fundamentals, and then the second important learning that you're going to take out from this module are strategic way of thinking about managed entry agreements. So we're going to go over all the different schemes, whether financial schemes, whether performance-based schemes, and we're not going only to list these schemes and the limitations and the challenges of each one of these schemes, but we're going to help you thinking strategically which schemes fit for purpose for each situations. So through giving you a lot of examples about how these schemes are being adopted by different case studies, different systems, healthcare systems, or different pharmaceutical products, whether gene therapy, oncology drugs. So all these schemes, how you think strategically and critically about which schemes fit for each situation. Moving to the third objective and the learning expectations from this module, we're going to have a lens on our region, which is the MENA region. So with this part, you will know where do we stand in MENA, in the MENA region, and the managed entry agreements, how they are evolving in the MENA and the Middle East and North Africa, and what are the limitations and barriers for the MENA region to apply managed entry agreements, be it data access, be it negotiation skills, be it also sometimes price transparency. So we're going to give you a deep dive into how these MEA schemes are being evolved in the MENA region. After that, finishing from all theories, you're going to have practical skills. You're going to know and you will leave the session with skill set about applying and implementing managed entry agreements, how you can design managed entry agreements, and how you can negotiate, whether you are in the government part or payer part, or you are in the industry part. So you're going to be given a lot of frameworks, a lot of templates, a lot of contracts, templates on how these managed entry agreement being applicable. So you will leave with really a skill set and you will be able to be part of a team negotiating and designing managed entry agreement, whether you're working in a procurement committee or you're working and you are in the industry preparing to negotiate for any drug access. The last module will be given by two important speakers, Dr. Sean Tunis, who is a renowned professor in Tufts University, but he's not only academic, he's also practitioner. He worked a lot in a fragmented system like the US in developing and designing managed entry agreements. So he will take you through real case studies on how these agreements are being applied and are being developed in the US, in USA. Also, we have Dr. Hana Abdel Karim. She's also professor in a very reputable institution in KSA, the National Guard. She's leading the PTC committee, and she is going to take us through how the National Guard is adopting management agreements in an institution context, and how these agreements are being used really to meet value-based healthcare, which is part of KSA 2030 vision. So I'm really excited, and I hope we can have many of you joining this module, and I look forward to see you there. Thank you very much. And since I think I'm the last module in this program, we're going to go to your questions and answers, and we look forward to answer all of them. So for the questions and answers, who's going to, what are the questions that we have? Theo?
Yes.
Thank you.
So again, thank you very much for joining this webinar, and a special thanks to our speakers for providing valuable insights on each module. We will now move on to the Q&A session. So during the presentation, we received some questions. Some were directly answered and some were retrieved, and we'll answer them live now. Please also feel free to submit any additional questions you may have now in the Q&A box. So we received one question, which was, what if you don't pass the quiz that is after each module? So you don't have to worry. The MCQ will be directly based on the lectures of the module. So if you stay focused and follow the content well, you will definitely do great. And please note that in case you're not successful on your first attempt, we will of course grant you a second chance to pass it. So this is the answer for the first question. Another question that we also received is if these presentation slides can be shared with us later. Yes, the recording will be shared with you for later access. And of course, we can also share the presentation slides with those who are interested by email. Also, we received another question. Will the program include projects? Yes, you will have a final project, which could potentially lead to a publication, as you will be collaborating with international and regional experts in the field of your choice. We also received now questions about, in statistic, is there anything about how to use certain programs like RStudio? Dr. Matni, if you can take the lead on this question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tia. I think we received many queries for Russell, so related to module 2 and 4. One of the questions is related to the use of RStudio within economic evaluation processing. Russell? Yes. You're muted, Russell. You're muted.
Sorry about that. We will take a look at the various platforms that are used in economic evaluation, but we won't be doing any particular analysis or having any detailed focus on any particular statistical program like R or programming language like R. We will have, however, the one platform that we will be using a great deal of is Microsoft Excel.
Yeah, thank you, Russ. So, Tia, we're sorry because the mics are not enabled, so we will have your questions through the box. Hopefully, this will answer the question of the participant. Any other question, Tia?
Yes, there are some questions that are being answered directly via the chat. Also, we just received now a question. Can you explain more regarding the final project? When and how is the topic selected? What type of support can we expect throughout?
For the project?
Yes, for the final
Yes.
year project.
Yes, very interesting question because the program was designed in order to work on a real case. So, and this real case would be selected either through the list of research topic who would be providing to you at the start of the program. Or it's something that you are interested because it's on the job thing, whether you are working on a specific product, for example, or on a specific policy or an evidence research project. So definitely you will be having a mentor, a full support, and the aim of the project is to enhance more research papers, whether they are a manuscript full publication or some abstract or poster generation, some white papers. And in case we're talking about health policy, some press release health policy on emerging and very hot topics in our region.
Thank you. One last question that we also received is the RGPD part of the discussion and the data part. So, Règlement général sur la protection des données.
Oui, thank you. Yes, so definitely, yes, this would be a part of and now Fatima can confirm this during the real-world evidence studies. This is part of confidentiality, data regulation in Europe, and definitely because it's a very important topic whenever we are collecting data for clinical research, patient-reported outcome measurements as well.
Yeah, that's correct, Myrna. We'll talk about different issues. I mean, one of it is this issue around the data access and governance when it comes to RWE work. This is one of we'll definitely focus on the region as well. This is more focused in Europe, but we'll focus explore those rules in the region in terms of data governance. As key part of RWE generation. Yeah.
Thank you, Fatima. Here, just to highlight that throughout the year and the diploma, we have outreach to most of the expertise globally and even in the region. And this will facilitate a lot this kind of adaptation and contextualizing of what we usually learn from the literature, global practices. So we would learn about real application and what is really happening in terms of either economic evaluation, managed entry agreements, health technology assessment, real world evidence in our region from expertise and on the job experts working in many institutions here.
Okay, thank you.
Hon, just Tia, one comment to follow up on what Myrna said, and just reading the questions that are coming in the chat. I just want to emphasize that this diploma was designed to be, of course, there will be some theoretical part in each of the modules explaining the basic concepts, but it was designed to be more of an applied type of
We cannot hear Fatima, or is just from my side?
Yes,
each module on how do we apply that in the local context. So I just want to emphasize this point for the audience that it is not just theoretical learning about the concepts. There's a huge applied part of in the learning in this type of diploma.
Thank you. Any other question, Tia?
Thank you. No, I think that's it, and just not to exceed the time of the participants. So if any questions come to mind after the session, please don't hesitate to reach out to us by email. We will be happy to set up a quick call or provide any further clarification you may need. Thank you all once again for attending. We truly look forward to your participation in the HEOR diploma, and we hope to welcome you on this exciting journey. Wishing you a great day ahead.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.